Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Bounce Media Network. It's your host, the one and only MC, Mr. J Ski. Check, check, check. Running a little behind here. Sorry for the delay. Let's wait for a few more people to come in. So I was watching going back thinking about that press conference with Kathy Engelbert at the draft. And, she was asked that question about, her job security, basically. Do they still expect her to carry on as the commissioner? And she basically gave a non-answer, a non-denial denial. Is that what they say? And pushed back on the reporter, basically saying if she were a man, would she have answered that question? And the reporter, she said, yes, I would. And I chuckled at that because, why wouldn't I ask that question? All season, there were turmoil and you were having, back and fight, piss fights with some of your employees, players, i.e. Nafisha Collier and a few other players. And so they wanted you fired, and we haven't heard anything else about it since the CBA. Then all of a sudden you come back, and this is the first stage that we see you on, and you say, you're not going to, you don't answer the question. All right. So even after the reporter said, yes, I would ask the question, she didn't say, just give a definitive answer. Yes, I'm staying on. We've done so much or whatever in my tenure, or she didn't say anything about she's going to be bringing in her successor, anything like that a normal CEO would do. Okay. It's not like the WNBA has gone public and she doesn't want to disrupt the stock by, putting out there information that would make the shareholders, a little, give them some anxiety or what have you. But no, she didn't even answer it. So I don't know about that. Gonna wait for a few more people to come in. See a couple people, UTP, Jackie. We need to stop this CC channel. It's going on year 3. Stop it. I don't know what you're talking about, but let's get you out of here. All right, we're gonna wait for a few more people to come in. I put out a video saying that I think the number one winners of the draft were UCLA. All right, UCLA definitively won that draft to me, as I have never seen in all my history of watching, drafts from college, from the pros, whether it be football, basketball, anything. Um, 5 draft picks from one university, from one school, all go in the first round. And then you follow up with 1 or 2 in the second round. So you have 6 or 7 individuals in the entire draft, all from UCLA in one single draft. I've never seen that's unheard of. It's got to be somewhat of a record. I haven't had time to look it up, but yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Another topic, another thing that's big in the news. I don't know if you guys saw this about the press conference with the Dallas Wings, AZ Fudd, and the coach over there. And a reporter asked AZ Fudd if she was if her and Paige Beckers was still dating, and the before Az Fudd could, I don't know if they were in in preparation for that, or anticipation rather for that question, and the coach jumped in and said, or the coach, or I don't know if it was the coach or the media person, whoever was up there jumped in and basically almost like a publicist jumped in and said, we're not going, I respect that question, but we're not going to answer any personal questions. And the thing is, I think it's fair game personally, because the only this is the only organization where um, players on the same team are known for dating their players. You can have two people in the starting five, or one person that's a starter and one person that's on the bench, and they're dating. You know what I mean? That makes it fair game. But the thing that made it actually viral and made it an issue is because uh, she could have easily just answered the question. Everybody knows that they're dating. You know what I mean? It's not, this guy, kudos to him for being brave enough to ask the question. And the reason it's fair game is because I've never worked with a spouse. I've never worked with anyone that I've ever dated, but I can't, I've had arguments and disagreements, throughout my life with my significant other. And I don't see how you can go into the same workplace after you've just had an argument or disagreement or whatever, the morning of, and then you go to work and you don't have time to digress or reassess things or anything like that. You know, catch a breather. You end up at the same place 20, 30 minutes later. You may just drive separately, or in some cases you may be driving together. If you're living together, you're driving together, and then you're just silent in the car, and I'm expecting you to basically continue to play ball, like nothing's happened or nothing's wrong or anything like that. And people are going to pick up on that. It's all about vibes. It's like if the vibe is off, other people are going to see what's going on. But I don't want to get too much into it. I just thought it was, like, how dare you say that you're not going to answer that question? It's an issue. So I don't know. So at this point, I'm probably going to, if you guys are just coming in, I see a couple people coming in. If you're coming in, make sure you go ahead and like the video before we fully dive into the main topic of the hour. We're gonna try and do an hour. If things get good, then we'll go a little bit longer. But like I said, hit that like button. Got some comments coming in. Get rid of the front office. Is that, how do you say that? Just to me, just me hand, UTP. Had to remove someone right off soon as we started. I don't even know how she hopped in on my live that fast and made that comment, but she's out of here. What's up, Ricky? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you can't live together and work together. Now, if you're on different floors or you're in a high rise or something like that, but it's, I don't know. You know, uh, Usually, in this modern day and age, if you're having a dispute, you can leave and still get messages on your phone and voicemails and whatever. How does that work when you're in the same place? You're just going to be mean mugging and staring at each other. You know, um, I don't know. It's it's the WNBA, and I've said this before. I don't care. I don't care who people. I don't care who you're dating, who you're sleeping with, or whatever. It's all about basketball at the end of the day. To me, I just don't. And that's what In most cases, that's what I'm paying to see. Because if I'm watching it on TV, I'm paying for that service, and they're fleecing the hell out of us by making us pay for all these different apps and things like that. And I've never done that to watch any sport until Caitlin Clark arrived in this league, and yeah. But we'll get more into that later. That'll kind of segue into some other things I want to talk about. Thank you very much for the super chat, Pam. And you say they signed the new four pristine to a developmental contract. I wouldn't want to work with my husband. No thanks. Yeah, exactly. Not saying that people can't work together, but more often than not, it's you can have it's out of a 5 day work week, 7 for some people. You can have 4 good days, and then that one bad day basically ruins the rest of the week. You know, so I think most people would agree that they don't really want to work with their spouse. Now, if you have a joint a business together and you're running a business together, like some spouses, couples, they run cafes or restaurants or things like that. You know, those dynamics may work, but even then, y- you know, you got to be comfortable throughout the day, and you have to have your mind on your money and your money on your mind. And if you're distracted with, you know, personal things, you know, it just seems like something that will basically, you know, distract you for all day. All right. Again, thank you for the super chat. Right off. I set a goal for 5 today for an hour, so it doesn't matter the denomination. If you guys are feeling generous, feel free to donate. The more I see those when I go live, it's kind of like a motivation for me to do more lives. So I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come in. If you just arrived, make sure you go ahead and like the video. One thing that I will say is I'm going to put the whole Raven Johnson thing to bed. I, you know, I mean, until training camp starts and the season starts and all that, um, I'm tentatively just going to accept her as a player. She's on the roster, so it is what it is at this point. We're gonna let bygones be bygones and just kind of brush off, dust the shoulders off, and just move forward. And if I see, some some type of bad energy going between her and CC. I think Aaliyah Boston is probably going to be play mediator and basically kind of bridge the gap between those two and move forward. I think one thing that I will say about Raven Johnson. I know a lot of people are saying that she's a winner or whatever. I wouldn't say that. She's been on stacked teams and whatever playing for South Carolina. All those teams are pretty much stacked. When you can just go, you can win the title one year and then come back. Maybe lose the following year, but then come back and win the year after that. Basically like say go 2 for 5. You know, 2 titles out of 5 years or something similar with that, a similar ratio. Yeah, you're basically on stacked teams. And when all the number one picks, are going to, these top schools, it's like the teams are always going to be stacked. So, but yeah, she may have a winning mentality, you know, and I do think that she did get better, become better as a player after 2023 because I did a comparison. I've seen the 2023 game so many times, more than I can count on one hand. Um, but when I knew she was coming to the Fever after draft night, I went and just kind of previewed, some of her games. Mostly, I didn't obviously go to the start of the season during those blowouts or anything like that. Just like the Sweet 16 games, the Elite Eight games, because they were basically in the Sweet 16 every single year, you know. So yeah, definitely got to see how it works out. So, like I said, I'm gonna, not fully embrace her with open arms, but I'm going to, like, okay, we'll see how you're doing. We'll see what's going on. Exactly. Well, you would think that. Why would you be a professional athlete if you don't have a winning mentality? Have you seen the WNBA? Have you seen, if you have a winning mentality, you think you would work on your game off season, right? You think you would probably make more layups, right? So, but it is what it is. It is the WNBA. That's for sure. I did see that Tammy Fagbinley, former Fever player, uh, she uh, she got $1 million contract. You know, so no shade to Tammy. She did what she did when she was with the Fever, and we appreciated that. But $1 million, I don't think she's worth $1 million. I wouldn't. I wouldn't give her $1 million if I had it. If I was a GM, like I said, there's no shade to her. Um, and I heard. I don't want to say I heard through the grapevine, but I pretty much heard that the reason that the Fever didn't protect her for the start of the 2025 season is basically because there was some issues in the locker room. Um, and you know what? That's what I like. I do like that, and I'll give her props for that. When you hear about some drama in the locker room, it kind of spills out into the public and the media, and we all know about it. The fact that we didn't know about it and we're just now kind of hearing about that now, I don't know if that's been on you guys' radar, but the fact that we're just now hearing about that, that tells me that you know it's a little class to who we had on the roster at that time because that didn't spill out. People kind of kept everything to their chest on that one, and it's just literally just coming out right now because some people wanted her to be signed back, and that didn't happen. UTP, thank you for the $5 super chat. You guys are coming in early with this. You say I was tripping at first because I wanted to big. You wanted a big, but now I think that Raven was a great pick. I don't know if she was a great pick. I think she was a good pick. It's TBD if whether she's a great pick. And you say I'm looking forward to her being a pest to other teams. Yeah, that's what Lexi is, right? So Lexi Hole, she is the ultimate pest, and the other teams hate her, but I bet you they would love to have her, and that's why she got the deal that she got. You know, some people say I know Mick talks hoops thinks that she was overpaid. I don't know if she was overpaid. I think what she brings. I mean, her shooting can be spotty sometimes. When she's on, she's on. That's no different than Ryan Howard. When she's on, she's on. But she can have consecutive off nights. But Lexi Hole makes up for it on other ends, just like when Caitlin's shooting is off. Okay, when Caitlin's shooting is off, she makes up for it on other ends, getting other people involved and more so. And sometimes it's great when Cece can do it both at the same time. She's getting her shot off and she's getting other people involved, and that's a triple double in the making. So, but yeah, Lexi Hole, I think she's invaluable. Was she overpaid? I don't know. It maybe not by much, maybe by a couple 100,000. All right, she definitely got paid more than Sophie, and I think that is because Sophie, Sophie's injuries. I know a lot of people think that she's not injury prone, but she had two injuries in 1 year, and she had an injury when she was on the Phoenix Mercury, the same like the ankle. It's the ankle, you know. But when she's on and she's fine and she's playing, she is Sophie is she's golden. Her field goal percentage is pretty good. She very rarely has an off shooting night. If she's not shooting, it's because she's on the bench or she's been flagged as not playing. You say Lexi was definitely overpaid? By how much? How much would you say she was overpaid? Yeah, I would agree her durability got her paid. With all of the bumps and bruises that that Lexi endured, didn't get injured, not one time. And if anything, I would say she ramped it up in 2025. That girl she's solid, you know, as far as taking the physicality, and she's taking it from bigs. Tough girl. Yeah, she's definitely there for her defense. Like I said, but her shooting is nothing to sneeze at because when she's hot, she's hot. You've seen it, primarily in the 2024, the second half of that season. When not Sophie, when Lexi gets hot, it's swish, it's buckets, and I think she feeds more off of if Caitlin was playing a full season in 2025 season. I think I don't know. It's like encouragement, the friendship encouragement. It's one thing to do it from the sidelines, but to have somebody on the court with you and they're basically, encouraging you. I think that's what happened. That's what we saw in 2024. Once um, Caitlin and Lexi, linked up and their friendship became big. It was, it was perfect. And that energy, they vibed off each other, and her shooting was much better the second half of 2024, and it dipped in 2025 because I would say, dare I say, because CC wasn't on the court. Sophie needs to stop wearing heels. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how much we're actually seeing her. I don't know how often she actually wears, heels. You know, so yeah, Tammy was way overpaid, and Jessica Shepard. Yep, Cowboy Marshall, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, Timmy was definitely a class act. I think that was classy that she didn't talk about it. I mean, we went all 2025 and we didn't hear anything about that, and we're just now hearing it from Fever organization insiders because, like I said, many people were advocating for bringing her back when she became a free agent, and basically they had to. It's like they explain, like they tend to explain anything to us, but yeah, they basically had to um, kind of soft explain why we didn't bring her back. Black Crow, I see you just jumped in. You want CC to go to the Valkyries with the Natalie Akase? I like Natalie Akase. She is from jumping from an assistant coach and doing what they did with the Valkyries last season. I mean, come on, man. She did a better job than many of the head coaches with less. The Valkyries was definitely a fun team to watch. All right, if you guys are just now coming in, make sure you hit that like button. And I don't know if the share is available on live, but share it. See if you can get some more people in here. We got a nice group in so far. Yeah, UTP, that's the point. Timmy didn't say anything. During the free agency for this period, many people wanted Timmy to come back for the Fever to bring her back, and the Fever felt the need because it must have been a high volume of people making that request. So they kind of had to put something out there. So there were some issues in the locker room. I think she was just very vocal on some things. I don't know. So there were some disputes in the locker room. It could have been a Christy Size thing, or it could have been with the players, could have been with Caitlin. I don't know what it was. We don't know. So, and that's why we're saying that's a class act, because she didn't leave and put it out there. You know how a lot of people, they put their drama out there and they for everybody to know what's going on, and that didn't happen. So that's what we're talking about. Yep, Kate Money Martin. She's at the Valkyries. Man, if she was a free agent, you know what? I don't know. We're gonna get into the main topic here in a second. What I'm gonna do right now, let's see who we have. So right now on the roster, so we got Mo Billings, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Demiris Dantas, Ty Harris, Lexi Hole, Raven Johnson, Megan McConnell, Kelsey Mitchell, Justine Passat, Jessica Timmons, Michaela Timpson, Kayana, what's her last name? Kayana Traylor, and Shatori Walker Kimbrough. Let's see. So we got a couple spots. We don't have 16. We have 15 people on the roster. So as of right now, we still have a spot open. I don't know who this Kayana Trailer person is. Never heard of her. Not sure who's going to start. We know Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Sophie. Well, maybe not Sophie. I think Lexi will probably start over Sophie. And I'm guessing Mo Billings, as of right now, since we don't have Natasha Howard anymore, Mo Billings is going to take that spot. Originally, I thought she was going to come off the bench, when I also thought they were going to bring in someone else for that 4 or 5 position, and like a dedicated center, a big, and they did not do that. But if Mo Billings does start, maybe right now she averages 7.3 points a game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 0.5 assists per game. So obviously not big on the assists, but if she's averaging 7.3 points per game, and that's without playing with Caitlin Clark, that number may go up 35%. Welcome aboard, Jeffrey. Yeah, you caught a live feed. All right, let's go ahead and get into the main topics here. Let me wet my whistle. So Lynn Dunn, it's the first thing I want to talk about. So Lynn Dunn, the former Fever GM, former Fever head coach, assistant coach, whichever one she was, she put out this thing on Twitter, or she retweeted it, 4 types of complainers. And it's going viral for it because it almost seems like she's sending a subliminal message to, Fever fans, Fever Nation, us, basically. And it says, number 1, the productive complainer. This person is fully engaged, offering ideas and suggestions to help improve the team's culture. They are fully invested in the team's culture. And I guess it's up to you to figure out if you are the productive complainer. All right. And it says number 2, the venting complainer. This person is working hard, doing what is right, but is tad overwhelmed and needs to vent to release stress. I'm probably number 2 more often than not. And then you have the chronic complainer. I could be this one too. This person always finds problems, but there are times when these problems are real. We cannot overlook this person. We need to give them the proper attention and hear their ideas. And then number 4, the malicious complainer. This person needs to be removed. They complain about everything, gossip, and destroy team culture. All right, what was the purpose of her putting that out online? Okay, because I would probably say number 1, 2, and 3, that could be any one of us right now in this live feed. Okay, but I'm thinking she's put, obviously you just can't go and start with number 4, so you're going to put out a list, and number 4 will be in, basically from the best, least to worst, or whatever, or however you want to put it. But the one that she mostly wants us to concentrate on, is put our eyes on, is the number 4, the malicious complainer. All right. Yeah, I don't know about that. I kind of advocated for Lynn Dunn, being that she was the staunch supporter for drafting Caitlin Clark, to the Indiana Fever. All right, which basically made me and many of you Indiana Fever fans. But it's becoming, it's almost like with the Chicago Bears. You're making it very hard for me to be a fan of the Fever, with some of the stuff that's going on. And most of the stuff that's going on, it just doesn't make any sense. When you're trying to wrap your head around and trying to figure out what it is that they're doing, and what's their rationale for doing it. All right, we can't say that they're not doing some things, because they're definitely doing some things, but the things that they're doing is not making any sense. Raven is a number 4 complainer. Yeah, preemptively. Yeah, they're doing some things, but the things they're doing aren't making any sense. It's not making any sense at all. You went into a draft. I know you have the number 10 pick. Okay, so pretty much anything that's picked before number 10 is off the menu. All right. But once you arrive at the number 10 pick, and I saw the video where they had the big whiteboard, and they had all the names, and they were crossing out basically so they can keep track of who's available. Okay, so they had the board, and I saw that with Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff. I get them confused. I know they're both their names, but as far as who is which, I couldn't tell you which is which. But I do know the name. It's been cemented in my in my psyche, in my brain. Okay, so was Raven Johnson the best pick for us at number 10? I don't know about that. Considering that we still, now, here's the thing. If you were going to pick Raven at number 10, because you didn't know if she was going to be available at number 10, but you could be like me and put your 10 foil hat on and say all this stuff is rigged anyway. They know exactly who's going to be where and what number they're going to fall, and it's all, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's so you could look at it, on that, that angle. All right. Sometimes I tend to, and sometimes I tend not to. Okay, it just depends on the day. Okay, with that being said, if you were going to draft someone in free agency and bring them over and have a big, in the draft, the free agency draft, not free agency draft, you know what I mean. If you're going to bring over a big through via free agency, and then you pick Raven Johnson at number 10, that would make sense to me. I can understand that. But the fact that you didn't bring over a big, maybe you were trying to negotiate with a few people and we didn't have the salary cap for it or something, but I don't know that. And you're not telling me that. So how am I supposed to make sense of what you're doing? And you're just supposed to, you're basically making a move. I don't work in the front office. I don't work for the organization. I'm just a fan. I'm an observer, an onlooker, and I'm critiquing what I see from the outside looking in. All right. But if you're not telling me your rationale, your reasoning for doing this, and then I see that you didn't do something else to basically supplement that, to go along with that, on the surface, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do that? All right, Medina Okot was still out there. It's been a couple days, so I should have wrote names down. But that one I remember. There were a couple people that were still out there. And if you wanted to bring somebody in from South Carolina, there was another big from South Carolina that was available. But yet you drafted Raven, and I don't know if that drafting Raven as a whole, that makes sense to me. I can wrap my head around that. That makes sense. If you want to bring in another defensive player and she's available, that makes sense. But drafting her at number 10 when we haven't acquired anyone in free agency, that doesn't make sense. All right, and you're not making it make sense to me. So what am I supposed to do with that other than just accept it? All right, because I'm accepting her being on the roster because you drafted her. But as far as me accepting why you drafted her in the slot that you drafted her, if she fell down, she even her Raven herself, she was amazed that she got drafted so early. She was expecting herself to be down further, much further down. Okay, if you drafted her in the 22nd spot in the second round, that would have made more sense to me, depending on who you picked at number 10, because you didn't bring in anybody in free agency. And again, I don't know. Maybe some people didn't want to come to the Fever. Maybe they all just want to beat the Fever. They want to beat Caitlin Clark, and they don't want to join forces. You know, they're all just banding together. The enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. You know, they're all in cahoots. All right. So which leads me to another thing. All right. So you got, you know, everything's going to be centered around Caitlin Clark in pretty much every video, whether it's live or pre-recorded or whatever. Everything's going to be centered around Caitlin Clark. Okay. So if everyone outside of the team, the Fever organization, is in cahoots to take down, you know, Goliath, okay, and Caitlin Clark being David in this analogy, then you're also basically sabotaging her from within, okay? And the reason I say you're sabotaging her from in, and the way I titled this video is what's happening, what's going on, is because I don't know, I can't make sense of what the hell's going on. Because if you're bringing in all these guards, we didn't draft a big, we didn't acquire a big in free agency, and I see you bringing in guard after guard after guard after guard, and they're all small, okay? Caitlin's 6 feet tall. All of these other players, 5'8", 5'9", 5'11". It's like they're all under 6 feet. The only person that you actually drafted, Justine Passat, you know, which may turn out to be a good draft pick, but then you bring in some other people. You bring in Shatori Walker Kimbrough, and she's not even on a training camp contract. She's on the actual roster. Okay, so if she's on the roster, that means some other people are going to be cut in training camp. And I swear to God, if you cut Justine Passat, who seems like to me, from what I've seen, to be a certified shooter, and you just gave Shatori Walker Kimbrough an actual contract, and you cut Justine Passat, I might be done. I might be done because what I'm trying to think, this is what's in my head, and I'm trying my best to basically quiet the chatter that's in my head. Is like they're trying to sabotage Caitlin Clark. All right. If you have Caitlin, I was thinking about this when I was driving this morning. Caitlin Clark is a gift and a curse. She's a gift. She's been a gift to us as fans, you know, of her playing. Okay. From Iowa, you know, I even I was such a fan of her in Iowa. I even went back and watched any footage that I could find of her at in high school at Dowling. Okay, that's how much impressed I was of her. You know, her basketball IQ. I wanted to see when did she start acquiring this skill? When did she level up from this, from this point in her game? And, I wanted to know all of that, And so she's a gift, as in she's gifted, as in she is the best that I've seen, in her position in for female basketball. Okay. So dare I not say a generational player. Okay. So if you have that, and that's the gift part of it, then the flip side of that is she's a curse as well, because she's so good, they don't like it. And they want to minimize her. They don't want to make it seem like everything that she's doing is because of who she is. They want to make it seem like it's a team thing. It's all a group thing. It's a Stephanie White thing. It's a Fever organization thing. It's a, hey, we want Fever to be Apple and all. It's like you're saying this after the girls' first year. You weren't saying anything about Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff. You weren't saying any damn thing about the Fever as a whole being Apple as a brand prior to acquiring Caitlin Clark. So you acquire her, and then you want to use her, you want to leech off of her to make her the face of the organization without making her the face of the damn organization. That doesn't make any sense. Again, you're doing things for the sake of doing things, but they don't make sense. I don't get it. Many won't sign with the Fever because everyone says game is played against us if it's in the finals. Expand on that, and I'll come back to you. Let me expand on that, if you will. Let me know what you're talking about exactly before I respond to it. The whole draft is full of role players. Yeah, there were the number one draft pick, AZ Fudd, was a role player. Okay, she should not have been number one, and I mentioned that early on before many of you guys came in. All right, again, hit that like button. If you're feeling generous, go ahead and drop in a super chat. We got 2 of 5. We're trying to get 5 super chats before I end this throughout the live. But yeah, I don't understand what the front office is doing. Okay, like I said, they're bringing in all these guards, all these small players. It's almost like you're expecting. Do you know something that we don't know? Is Caitlin Clark not fully healed? Because from what I saw, I know she didn't go hard at during the FIBA qualifiers, but she played when she was, in the game. She came in off the bench, won the MVP, and I know they didn't want her to get it, but good thing that wasn't, a WNBA thing, because I guarantee you Ryan Howard or Kelsey Plum would have got that MVP. But this was overseas, and FIBA, and it wasn't, fan voted or anything like that. FIBA, the organization, basically bestowed upon her the Tassat MVP. Okay, so you have that. Stephanie White's over there. Who knows what she's doing in her ear? I saw the one image, and I put that out in the earlier video. I wish I could post it up right now. She put in that, there was a one image where I don't know if in Puerto Rico, where they were doing the practice, or maybe it was in South Carolina, and they were doing the practice, and Paige Beckers was off to the side, and Stephanie White was talking to Caitlin Clark, and the look on her face, her body language, is like, will this woman shut the hell up talking to me and let me play my game? That's how I saw it. Okay, she looked very disengaged. She looked like she was very, standoffish, and, Stephanie White, she wasn't reading the room. Okay. Caitlin did not want her in her ear. That's what, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, that's what that picture showed. I didn't know I was going to talk about that. Otherwise, I would have, popped it up in here for you guys to see. Mo Peasy, you say, how do you ask your fans to pay to come see someone that thinks they're a racist? Yeah, exactly. How do you, that's a whole nother thing. And I don't want to get too much into that, but let me take it further. How do you ask your fans to come and pay for someone when you're limiting the style of play that the person actually wants to pay for? Okay. And then on top of it, you're making your ticket prices higher than everybody else's ticket prices. But then you're not giving us what we want. All right. We, me, you, everyone, nationally, globally, fell in love with Caitlin Clark because of her style of play. It's entertaining. All right. She puts on a show. She wants to entertain. You can see it. Okay. Even with the way that she celebrates and everything, that's all within her style of play. It all encompasses everything. She embodies all of it. It's atmospheric. Okay. And the Fever, the organization, I thought it was just the league. Okay. I thought it was the league and it wasn't, internal. But now I'm starting to feel like it's internal. It's like you're trying to stop her from giving, her being CC, her from giving us what we want, what we originally paid for. Last year, this time, I already had 2 tickets purchased. I was on Game Time, the app, and I was looking at seats before the draft started. I was like, yeah, I got to get my tickets. Let me see where I'm going to go and all this. I even thought about going to a preseason game because it was against the Wings. And then the draft came. And then I saw what was going on leading up to the draft and things Stephanie White was saying, talking out the side of her mouth, talking out her ass. And then seeing who we were bringing in for free agency. And I put a pause on it, And if I did that, because I went to 3 games last season, 3 games, 2 with CC and 1 without CC. I was at the infamous Liberty game in Indianapolis when she shot the 3 over Stewie and hit the 3 3-pointers in 30 some seconds. I was at that game. Okay. That's what we want to see. And you give the people what they want to see. All right. The NBA, you think they told Michael Jordan to stop dunking? You think they told Michael Jordan to stop doing whatever it is that he was doing to win the game? What did the Bulls do? They brought in, like, well, we got MJ. Let's just, let's bring in some more people to help him. And by doing that, that's going to help us. And at that time, other than the Lakers and the Celtics, the Bulls became the most profitable organization during those dynasty years and leading up to the first three-peat. They put the pieces in place. They brought Scottie in. Okay, after every single championship, they kept adding pieces. During the second three-peat, they brought Rodman in. And that didn't make any sense at the time. It did and it didn't, because we knew what Rodman was infamous for, but we also knew we knew what he was well known for, but then we also knew what he was infamous for with, in that stage of Rodman's life. Okay, but before I lose track, they kept bringing in pieces. Okay, look at the Lakers. During the Lakers runs, and their runs go up and down, up and down, up and down, okay? The Lakers kept adding pieces around Magic Johnson, all right? And then when Kobe came, around Kobe, around Shaq, Vlade Divac, and, Rick Fox, and, all these guys, they just kept adding pieces, role players, not stars. They kept adding role players that benefited. The Fever aren't doing that for Caitlin Clark. And I don't understand why it is. Why they're not doing that. It doesn't make any sense. It seems like it's sabotage. Okay? They want her on the team. They want to make all this money from her. Not from her, from us. Through her. Okay? Because the money's coming from us. But then you're setting her up for failure at the same time. All right? Like I said a few minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, do they know something that we don't know? Is Caitlin Clark not fully healed? She said she was. She said she was 100%. And I would like to think that she's not lying to me. Okay? So if I give Caitlin the benefit of the doubt and say she's telling the truth that she is 100%, then what the hell's going on? Why are they bringing in all these damn guards? Because what happened last season, that wasn't a normal thing. That was a fluke. Okay? Yeah, this person go down. This person go down. Everything that could happen did happen. And they're operating from that. So you're not going to give me a big, the satisfaction of bringing in a big to put on your roster, and you're bringing in all these guards. We're going to get our ass kicked. We're going to get our ass kicked in the paint. We don't have, and then I don't even know what's the full status of Aaliyah Boston. Nobody has said anything about Aaliyah Boston's injury. Is it gone? Is it healed? Or what was it exactly? We don't know anything. Nobody said nothing. So if Mo Billings is starting on this roster, who's backing up Aaliyah Boston? Myisha Hines-Allen? Who's AB's backup? We don't have a dedicated stretch four. I know I don't trust you to keep the right people in training camp. Are you waiting for other teams to cut players? And then you try to get lucky and pick those players up? Because I can agree that if one player may not work on one team, they may not fit, but they may fit with our team. Okay, I can believe that. I can wrap my head around that. But you can't operate like that. You can't just expect for someone to fall into your damn lap. Okay? Look at what the Aces are doing. The Liberty brought in a 7-foot China woman. Person from China. 7 foot tall. Basically brought in a damn Wemby. Myisha Hines-Allen is not going to be able to. I don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me. Let me read some of this. Yeah, UTP, you have to worry about her playmaking. For sure. This is very sad. Playmaking only happens when they take her shot away. But I agree that she's been the best gift. She's more Steve Nash than Steph Curry. You know what? I've been saying that. I know a lot of people want, and what I mean by I've been saying that, meaning not, in my circles. I've been saying that she's more Nash than Curry. Okay? She can be Curry-esque, but she's more Steve Nash. Wow, thank you for the 1999 super chat. Yes, sir. What up, though? The entire Fever organization is getting cooked. In the comment section, by the way, they gave Justine Passat a developmental contract when they need height. She is 6'4". Yeah, she's 6'4", just to keep Raven on the team. What WTF? You almost had me say it there. Make it make sense. It makes no sense. I don't know. They're gonna make my head explode trying to think about this. It's like they all need to go. They all need to be fired. And I don't, I know I have some women in the chat. Pam, if you're still in the chat, or anyone else, I'm not trying to be sexist, but we got, we got the Fia, we got Amber, we got Kelly, we got Lynn, we got Stephanie White. It's that's not a good. I don't like it. You know, if you remember the WCW, the Four Horsemen, this is not the Four Horsemen that I want on my team. I mean, in my front office, this is not the Four Horsemen that I want. They got to go. They're this is a mismanagement of assets, mismanagement of funds. They don't know what they're doing. All right. Now I thought was it Jeff Pagliotti, or I think that's his name, with Chicago Sky. I thought he was an idiot. It seems like he knows more what the hell he's doing than Amber and Kelly. Look at what the Chicago Sky is doing. Like almost like evil genius. Look at what they did. Look at what the Washington Mystics are doing. The way they're going to have in the next 2 years, in 2027, 2028, the Mystics are going to be the team to beat. You're going to have a lot of these older players. They're going to phase out on their 1 year deals, 2, maybe 3 year deals. Nobody's getting a 5 year deal or anything like that. Nobody's getting. Even Asia Wilson didn't get that. She got a 3 year deal worth about $5 million. She didn't get that. And this CBA is not renegotiable after like 4 or 5 years. This is like a 7-year CBA. So many of these old players are going to get out, but a lot of these teams are smartening up, and they're setting their team up for success for the next couple years with the draft picks and the things that they actually have their actual GM hat on, and they're doing the things that they're supposed to do. I don't know what the hell the Fever front office is doing. The only height that we have is Justine Passat, and she's on a developmental contract. She's a 6'4". She could end up being a stretch 4. Probably I don't know. But developmental contract. I would keep her based off of what I saw comparatively to Michaela Timpson. I'm keeping Justine Passat over Michaela Timpson. And that's what you got to do. That's business. See you wouldn't want to be you. Bye-bye, KK. All right, Demiris Dantas. She's slow. I like Dee, but, she seems like a nice, dare I say sweet girl or whatever, but, it's business. See you wouldn't want to be you. Give me somebody else. The only person that I like that they brought in was Mo Billings. Mo Billings is the only free agency pick that made sense. And I don't know if that's because that's all we could get, or they strategically got her versus the options that were on the table. Alana Smith would have been golden for us. And I know she was available. But again, with Kelsey taking the Supermax and, whatever, get your money, whatever. They gave you a 1 year deal, Supermax. If you're only going to give her a 1 year deal, why the hell give her the Supermax? I got the one and only, the Pope, B. Frank, in my chat. I can't even believe it. Salute to you, sir. Big fan. Yeah, we're cooked. This makes no sense to me. I just I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and like I said, I'm the last person in the world to be sexist. I have 2 daughters, wife. This has nothing to do with gender, but like I said, the 4 horsemen, the 4 sheep. Let's call them the 4 sheep because they're not the 4 horsemen. The 4 sheep that we have in the Fever front office, being the coach, Lynn Dunn, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff, they're effing up. Not good. And I don't know at this point, since they've made a mockery of the draft, the college draft, free agency, I don't I don't trust them to do anything strategically come training camp. We're going to see the wrong players get cut. We're not going to see them bring anybody in. They're thinking, you know what? I put money on Caitlin Clark. I put money on Aaliyah Boston. I put money on Kelsey Mitchell. That's our core three. Then I would extend it to Lexi's defense. I'm guessing, I'm thinking that they think we still have the better team. This is not 2025. Everybody, the deck has been shuffled. Okay, we got people that went over here. The Liberty are doing things over here. The Aces brought in Kennedy freaking Carter. Kennedy Carter. Even if she's coming off the bench, we don't have anything to match up with that. Only thing that we can do is try to slow her down. All right. And I said in my last video, my previous video, fuck it. Put Raven Johnson on Kennedy Carter. She won Defensive Player of the Year. She's not going to shut her down, but maybe she can slow her down. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say the girl is garbage. She's not going to get us any points. But if she can stop you from getting points, do it. Shut her down. All right? Make her ass go to the free throw line. I'm very nervous. I'm nervous about Atlanta Dream, and I'm worried about the Aces. And then I would say the Liberty coming in third. All right? The Dream, I'm worried about them because I feel like they can set Angel Reese ass up to make it to the playoffs and maybe possibly win a damn championship. Angel Reese, that's really her. That's her MO. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else, get the chip, and take all the credit for it. That's basically what Angel Reese does. And by her going to the Atlanta Dream, I see it. I've already seen this. I've seen this playbook before. Angel Reese may end up getting a ring before Caitlin Clark. And I think the powers that be would love to see that. They would love to see that. And that's going to kill me. That's going to, you know, you remember the TV show Sanford and Son? It's the big one. It's Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. It's the big one. Yeah, if Angel Reese gets a ring before Caitlin Clark, my head's going to pop off and I'm going to basically have a damn heart attack. I'm calling it right now. All right. And if it's not the Dream, because that's going to be a matchup, as if they weren't a matchup before. We just kicked their ass in the playoffs. But all season, we were going back and forth, back and forth. All right. If it's not the Dream, the Aces. Now, if you told me that Jackie Young was going somewhere else, Chelsea Gray was going somewhere else in free agency, and then they brought in Kennedy Carter, I'm like, okay, well, you moved this piece out. You got a little bit better on this piece or whatever. But they're staying, and you brought in Kennedy Carter? So if they can keep her in check, how the hell are we going to beat that? I don't know. I don't know. How are we going to do that with the moves that the Fever front office is doing? OMG, if Angels team wins the championship, we will never hear the end. No, we're not going to hear the end of it. Even if they say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Say if we just match up with them, we match up with the Dream, and they beat us, say 2 out of 3. I don't know how many times do we match up. You can let me know in the chat. All right. Hey, if you guys just coming in, make sure you hit that like button. UTP, thanks for the $5 super chat. Signing Alana Smith to a max deal wouldn't have made sense. She signed a 3-year, $1 million year max. No, I wouldn't have signed her to a max deal. No, that's why I said maybe they tried to court her, and we just couldn't get her. I wouldn't have signed her to a max deal. No, No, definitely not. You clutch my pearls on that one. I would not. I wouldn't have done that. But I would have tried to get her. You ain't worried about Carter. We got Raven. Yeah, I'm hoping she's gonna have to. Yeah, she's definitely. I would say it would be different if Kennedy Carter wasn't doing what she was doing overseas. But I mean, the girl is scoring 30, 35, 40 points overseas on a regular basis. And I know it's overseas. The competition isn't what it is, but you're still your wheels are moving. You're getting your conditioning is staying the same. It's like she hasn't missed a beat. And I know she probably misses the competition in the W, you know, because it's probably lacking, you know, where she's been playing in Mexico or whatever, you know. They probably more physical than they are, you know, as far as their skill set in the shooting area. But yeah, if Raven Johnson can just contain her, not shut her down, I don't expect that. That's asking a lot. But if she can contain her, keep her to maybe, you know, 10 points off the bench, I can live with that. I can live with that. I don't think anybody would be mad at that. All right. But if she comes off the bench and we put Raven on her and she's still getting 16, 17, or, you know, 8 from 12 and field goal percentage, we're dust. We're cooked. Okay. If you guys just coming in, hit that like button. You say, I only trust these Fever players. CC22, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, Dantas, until I see Kelsey take on a different role. No championship for the Fever, CC and AB prime time. You know, and that's I mean, I think, and that's the only thing that's going to salvage the season. You know, and what I mean by salvaging season, we're doing 44 games this season. So if they go, let's say 30 and 44, okay, or let's say they gotta obviously they gotta win more than, you know, 25%, 60% of the games that we have. But if they go 30 and 44, 32, 42, something like that, you know, that means we had a good season. Obviously, you know, if we match up with the Sparks, or we match up with the Dream or the Aces, and we drop a game, we win one, they win one, we go back and forth. The Mercury, you know, we win one. But if we go 0 for 2, 0 for 3, I mean, last season we went 0 for 3 with the Sparks. We didn't even beat them with the team that they had last season because we didn't have bigs. They were kicking our ass in the front court, and then Azure, you know, knocking threes down, you know, and blocking shots in, you know, in the paint. I don't know, guys. It's disheartening. It's disheartening. Hey, what up? I see you just came in. Hit that like button. BBK29. Problem is, how many points are lost on offense when Raven is on the floor? That's the thing. It depends on who she's coming in for. She can't be coming in. Raven can't be a backup for CC. All right, which means she's gonna have to be on the floor with CC. Raven has to be a backup, I guess, for Lexi. They pretty much have the same role, but Lexi can shoot better than Raven. So, all right, only 2 places for CC to be traded to. Toronto is the best. California, Golden State. You know what? I would probably, I like, Sandy Brondello, former coach for the Liberty. I like her, but she's she's a little old school. She's a little bit more, you know, chipper than some of the other W coaches, but I like Natalie Akase. If I was gonna, if Caitlin Clark was gonna be traded somewhere, then I would say trade her. If I were her, I would request a trade to Golden State. All right, somewhere where, because I know I trust that Natalie Akase and the GM over there, they would build a team around Caitlyn, not what the Fever doing, building a team through her. You know, yeah, they're I don't know. All right, we've gone over a bit. What else you guys got? Critic alert: the Fever schedule is brutal. Yeah, they all our schedule is always brutal. It was for the last couple years. That's like I said, they're setting us. We're set up for failure. All right. Now, if we succeed, if we happen to succeed throughout that failure, then that's just in face of adversity, you rise, right? So we played the dream 4 times. Yeah, I knew it was 3 or 4. So yeah, 4 times. If we split it, they get 2, we get 2. I can live with that. But if we get any, if it's lopsided, we win 1, they win 3. No, it's over. It's over. We'll never hear the end of it. It's over. Trade CC to the Valkyries. Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Like I said, that would be my pick. I don't know if the fandom would skyrocket California, because it seemed like whenever they played over there, when they did play the Valkyries with Kate Money Martin, it didn't go so well. It didn't go so well as far as with the fans. They were actually, it seemed like they were cheering. Maybe they were cheering more for their team, their home team, versus cheering against us. It may be that. I would say it's probably more likely that. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, I plan to go an hour. We're a little bit over. I pretty much got out everything that I wanted to put in this live. But yeah, these are trying times. These are trying times. All right, unless you got anything else, like I said, I'm gonna go in. We're gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you for all you guys that sent the super chats. Like I said, if you haven't done so, like the video, subscribe to the channel if any of you are new, and that's pretty much all I got. All right, that's it.